All right. So it is now 11 o'clock. I will call the Capital Committee meeting together to order at 3:17, 11 o'clock. Call Capital Committee meeting to order. There we go. Spit it out, Ryan. Today's agenda, we're gonna keep it to an hour. I know Jim's got a hard stop. So
actually, Ryan, I was able to reschedule that. So
all right, so we'll be here for 3 hours then.
Wonderful.
Still trying to keep it to an hour. What we'll do is, as we have done in years past, we will go through and review the capital projects, categorize them, and then also put them into groups. So, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So if we break everything into 4 groups, then we can prioritize within those groups, which makes it a little easier for us. One of the things to note as well, in the sheet that I sent to you guys with the FY23 projects on it, I only included the DPW projects that Bruce had sent us in that separate list. This is not all the projects that they submitted this year. I think it was like $1 million that he had already sent, or that he had prioritized for us. So I said,
yeah. So you've got the 9 prioritized projects.
Yeah, instead of going through the 20 or whatever he submitted when he's not even submitting them for funding. I think trying to be respectful of everyone's time.
Okay.
So to get started, does anybody have any questions before we get started?
And I don't see Heritage Park on this list. Am I missing it?
It's
at
down
the
at the
bottom
bottom.
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Hey, Steve.
Oh, okay.
Or Steve,
Thank you. I got it. Thank you.
you got it. I will share my screen. Can everybody see the sheet?
Yes.
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 And it's easier than the printed out one, I have to say.
Yeah, so I try to keep things in Google Sheets because it makes it a lot easier to share. The problem is when you download it and export it to Excel, they don't typically come out looking the same. So these are also in the list that they were sent in priority. So we'll start with the DPW design cost North Main Street tip project Harkness to Dearborn for $560,000. Does anybody have any suggestions for categories between public safety, government mandate, capital infrastructure maintenance, improved operation, energy efficiency, and quality of life residents?
Sounds like capital infrastructure maintenance to me, but
I would agree with that. I probably improved operation and quality of life.
I wouldn't
Definitely
argue.
quality of life.
Yeah, I agree with quality of life.
All right. Does anyone have any other suggestions or changes for the tip project?
And remind me again.
But it's, just keep in mind that it's the town's investment on that $8 million total sum.
Yeah.
That's right. So we're getting money beyond the 580,000. Is that correct?
We pay the 560 and then the state picks up the balance of the 8 million and change.
Thank you.
We just got to have a little bit of a horse in the game here.
So Ryan, that might be worth a footnote on this sheet or something, just to, because that's a big factor.
It is.
Just either there or as a footnote down below or something. Yeah.
I'll clean that up.
Yep, sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Allen Street landfill closure, $147,265.
So is that a government mandate?
It is.
It is.
So
I would say
Ryan,
improved operations.
How
No.
Go ahead, Ralph.
so Ryan, last year on this, we passed because there was nothing we could really do until the property was purchased. And from what I understand, the property still hasn't been purchased. Is that correct?
property owner made an outrageous demand, which we rejected. So we've offered him the assessed value and he's rejected that. So yes, it has not been purchased. But I don't think that's going to matter to DEP going forward. They're now taking a posture that they want this done irrespective of access. So we've sent a letter to the landowner indicating that based on prior understandings from God knows when, that we had the right, the town had the right to access that property. And they're contesting that, but sort of modestly. So it's still pending, but I think we're running up against a wall with the DEP in terms of their continued forbearance.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we've definitely been pushing it off for years, and I think they're finally want to see something done. I don't know if it'd be improved operation. I mean, I guess it could be, because once you cap it, we could use it for something else, right?
That's
Fields
what I
are
was
better.
thinking, but I don't know how any other people feel.
Yeah, I mean,
What
I
would
don't
you
think
be
since-
using it for, though? Sorry, Connor.
Oh,
Fields, whatever the town really comes up with for ideas.
Bruce
Great.
has mentioned solar panels on many
For solar.
occasions.
Yep.
I'm just thinking that those are future things for the purposes of this. It just sounds like a government mandate to me, but that's.
That's my opinion.
yeah, I
it's-
agree
I think
with
it's
him.
good.
I think
I would agree.
All right, next up, DPW flatbed truck number 73 F800 replaced with a Ford F550 flatbed for $95,300.
Approved
No,
operation.
I would agree.
I would think it's more energy efficient too.
Yeah. I'm not
No?
sure about that anymore.
No?
Yeah, gas versus
You would
diesel.
hope it would be, but
Okay.
Public safety for plowing, because that's one of the trucks that's dead, right?
I think so.
Yes. I thought,
Yeah, and I think suppose it improves the quality of life as well if we actually have a vehicle that they can use instead of one that's not usable.
All right, anything else for the flatbed truck number 73? All right, move on to backhoe number 17. The Volvo 2008, replace it with a John Deere 410L for $179,550.
We'll definitely improve the operation again, I would say.
Yep.
Yep.
Infrastructure maintenance.
Yeah, I would throw it in there because basically we're trading off stuff and doing replacements just to maintain our ability to handle stuff. So
Yeah. All right. Anything else for the backhoe? Moving on to Bobcat number 109. Replace it with a John Deere 333G compact track loader. Not specifically going to be a John Deere track loader. It could also be a Bobcat if they can get a price on it, hopefully.
So would that be capital infrastructure maintenance and possibly improved operations? Because as I understood it, the moving to the track loader would give more flexibility as to how that piece of equipment could be used.
Yeah, so going to a track loader versus a wheeled machine, I think would be an improved operation. We're all through the expert.
yeah, definitely improved operation.
All right. Anything else for the compact track loader?
Potentially public safety, because I think that was one of the ones that they said that they go out with in the snow in the winter, whether it's like the town sidewalks and stuff like that.
Live with that.
Up next, 1-ton dump truck number 67 F550 replaced with a Ford F550 dump body for $90,686. Infrastructure maintenance, I would say.
Sounds like it to me.
Yeah.
Improved operations too, obviously.
Yep.
All right. Any other suggestions for truck number 67? Hearing none, we'll move on to the town hall trailer mount generator. 150 kW for 104,153. This is to power the entirety of town hall. The server room already has generator backup now, but this would supersede that.
So I could almost think of it as improved operations and possibly even quality of life in terms of, in the instances where it would need to be used. But
I would think I'm following Jim's thought. I would think public safety also.
yes, that would be true.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
All right. So same story, different building. Police new generator 60 kW. Generator they have now already powers the building, but it's very unreliable.
I'd put forth the same three categories that we just did.
Although I might also, yeah, okay, so as long as we have improved operations, yeah, I agree. Mhm.
All right. Last up for Public Works General Fund projects is fire new sprinkler system piping for 192,488.
Maybe that one's just a capital infrastructure maintenance, but I suppose it's not really improving operations. It's just keeping them from breaking.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, no argument. Come.
All right, that concludes DPW general fund projects. We'll move on to the school department. Their number one priority is the high school replace the roof membrane on the freshman wing for $225,000. I did take a bunch of pictures of the buckets in the hallways for you guys, but I figured you got the idea already.
So capital infrastructure maintenance.
Absolutely.
I think you might want to throw public safety on this. Someone could get, I guess, could get injured. Quality of life.
You mean getting rid of the buckets? Is that?
Actually, Jim, sometimes it leaks in the classrooms and it's pretty nasty.
All right, I can live with that, Rich.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, next up is Meadowbrook School add lights to the Porter Road parking lot for $65,008.
I think probably public safety and maybe either improved operation or quality of life or all three.
Anybody, everybody okay with that?
I'm good with that.
All right. Move on to Mountain View, replace the gym floor for $71,663. Maintenance improved in quality of life. What do you think?
It's fine with me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Does that mean I'm going to be able to bounce higher and therefore
It'll just be a softer impact.
be able to stuff the basketball instead of?
To say it'd be some safety too. I think only if the kids crack their skull on that floor now, they're kind of in deep trouble.
I used to climb ropes in that gym with that floor.
That
That explains a lot.
explains it, Ryan. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, next up, Maple Shade parking lot and playground paving with added drainage.
that one seems like a safety issue.
I would say infrastructure maintenance.
Yep. Improved with the drainage. What do you think?
I suppose the overall operations may not be different. It's just less of a safety risk.
All right, so leave with those two.
What about quality of life as far as the playground paving?
I
Yeah,
think
that
it's just a
might be safe,
repave.
yeah.
Just to
Right.
repave, yeah. Okay.
All right, next project, high school replace skylights and domes for $22,345.
So
Oh.
it sounds like capital infrastructure maintenance to me.
Does.
Yeah.
All right. Up next is the Maple Shade replacement of the flat roof sections for $964,810.
Probably the same three categories as the high school roof.
That makes sense.
Quality of life, right? Let's see, up next is Meadowbrook full renovation of parking lot. This is for both parking lots to add spaces on both of them. I think it was 40-something spaces.
I would
That
go
one.
public safety because they talked about the long car lines there and the danger there.
And I think improved operation on that one too.
That'll be improved. I don't think it was gonna affect the car line, Rich.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let it go.
What about maintenance?
Yeah,
Yep,
Jim,
How is it maintenance? Only because we're repaving? Is that?
Yeah, the parking lot's all falling
Upgrade.
apart now.
I mean, quality of life, maybe when parents go for events.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe less frustrating to find a parking spot.
It's quite terrible when there's events there, I can tell you that. All right, up next, high school classroom furniture and cafeteria tables for 174,811. I believe this project's withdrawn. I don't think I got official word from Gordon. I think we were gonna withdraw that, so I'm just gonna cross it.
okay.
All right. Next up is the Birchland Park ballasted flat roof for 492,737.
I thought that was gonna be brought to the MSBA for accelerated project.
Yeah, it was. So let's we'll cross that out. How does that sound?
Now, footnoted as Jim did with number one, maybe just make a footnote as you
Yep.
did in number one.
Yeah.
But we haven't
And
got
But,
Yeah.
Didn't Gordon tell us that, didn't Gordon tell us that he wasn't eligible for that because they're still paying off prior MSBA obligation for that school?
Yeah,
That's
they
right,
have another 2 or 3 years.
They had to wait because they keep pushing back the time frame.
So we can't.
That's
apply.
right, it went to 25 years, I think he said.
Yeah, it went
All
from
right.
like 20 to 23 to 25. Like we're right on that line.
Do
All
we
right.
still want to put it in categories? And
Yeah, I would think so, Ralph. Capital infrastructure maintenance.
Go with that.
So Mary, are you thinking that the schools could wait long enough to be able to be eligible to have it funded by the state?
Well, that was the impression that I got from Gordon when he made his presentation to us a few weeks back.
Hmm.
I don't want to assume what he's
Sure.
thinking about that, but I know he did reference the fact that we're sort of, we're not eligible right now for this project through MSBA. So I think he'd like to see it done, but I kind of got the inference from him that it was something that could wait.
So is this
That
something,
was the same feeling I got.
Ryan, that maybe we shouldn't cross out, but just footnote and then clarify with Gordon? Or,
Yeah, I won't cross it out. We'll leave it as a footnote. I mean, it's also their priority number 9.
right, exactly.
All right. All right, so that concludes the school department. We'll move on to the fire department. Engine 2 replacement, this, as it was submitted, was for a 5-year lease, year 1 out of 5. I did talk with the chief and he said that they can shift 25% of that amount, which is reflected in these numbers, to the ambulance fund.
So the 142 figure represents 25% of the ambulance fund.
The 142 is the 75% portion from the general fund.
Thank you, okay.
well,
Well, I would
that's
think
only
public,
1/5. That's only 1/5 of it, right?
Right.
That's 75% of 1/5.
All right, now, are you, is the 1/5, is that really the first year out of 5?
First of 5, correct.
That's saying, okay,
So it's not, so the total amount is, the 100% times 5.
Around 800,000, I guess, huh?
Correct.
I would say public safety, obviously.
Yeah,
Sure.
Government
Okay.
mandate. I mean, it's not a government mandate, it's a government recommendation. Improved operation.
I would second that.
Sure,
Improved
yeah.
operation,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Quality of life, I mean, if somebody has a shiny or fire truck in front of their house, I don't think it's a huge deal.
Well, does that make them more efficient in answering calls? I don't know, just a question for quality of life. Does that make-
Miles like left and right. And we have one that's sort of being cannibalized that was donated to us from the town of Palmer last year. So it's a necessary investment. And I can't swear to this, but we may have already signed that lease. So I don't know that there's much debate about it.
Well, this is the fire
This
engine,
is the-
isn't it?
Yeah, this isn't the
The
ambulance.
engine, okay, yeah, all right then. But in any case, the not only the ambulances, but the fire trucks as well, they're ancient and they do need to be upgraded.
Yeah, I think this one is a 94. I don't have the paperwork right here in front of me, but I think it's a 94. And this would be a medical response vehicle in addition to the ambulances. That's how we can, I forgot, it's like a class 4 ambulance or something, where we can contribute 25% to the ambulance fund. So quality of life, check it.
sure. Yeah, that one's as old as I am.
You're making me feel old.
Oh, really?
Up next is East Long Meadow Fire Department Car 1 replacement for $59,770.
I think public safety for that one too.
Yeah.
Public safety, infrastructure maintenance. It's kind of like a catch-all, really, that category. Improved operation, possibly, because if it gets replaced, that gives them an EMS fly car,
Mhm.
which right now they kind of split between the inspector and the EMS fly car. I guess
Yeah, that makes sense.
he did say he is withdrawing this project, the bumper gear replacement. So we can scratch that out. And okay. Do we want to talk about the public safety complex now or after we talk about police?
Well, it's kind of its own separate issue, isn't it? I would say we could talk about it now, but
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
so I suppose you could say public safety, capital infrastructure maintenance, perhaps even improved operations.
Yep. I don't think it would be energy efficiency because we're not replacing anything. We're kind of just adding. I don't think the plan would be to eliminate the police or fire buildings.
So Ryan, the price tag on it says 30,000, but didn't they up that to at least 40?
There was discussion on it. I don't know if we actually officially changed it. The submission I had was 430.
Did say he thought 40 was more likely, a better number on that.
Change it to 40.
Mhm.
All right. Any other categorization discussion for the public safety complex study? Should probably put that in here, huh? All right, moving on to the police department. I did talk to Chief Williams, so he had his vehicle request submitted as one bulk item for $214,700, I figured the committee would want to see them as separate items
Yes.
instead of a single amount.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan.
In that total amount, he did have the contingency as one project, so depending on what we move forward with approving, we just need to include that contingency or a fraction of it,
Sure.
just to keep up with it.
Sure. So 2 marked cruisers, I would say public safety and capital infrastructure maintenance.
I would agree with that.
I would add quality of life as they're answering calls.
Everybody go with that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Ryan, can we double check the pricing? Because the roughly 12,000 seems, I mean, astronomically higher than what it was last year, wasn't it? For the 2 cruisers?
So the cruisers, it was 108,320 for 2
something.
cruisers, and then another 3,000 for lettering for the 2 cars.
Maybe I'm thinking it was stripped
The
down.
upfitting is very expensive, $8,000 to
Correct.
$10,000.
Right. It always shocks me at how much the upfitting is to get all the police specific stuff on the
Right,
car.
and the same was true with Paul Morissette's request on his fire car there. I think the car itself was like 44 and the price was 59 that he gave us, so it's the extras.
Yeah.
They
That
always
makes
get you
sense.
with the extras.
Oh.
All right, next up is the unmarked cruiser.
I would say the same 2 categories we already did for the cruises.
Is the unmarked cruiser, is that a refresh my memory because I didn't make the site visit. Is that a replacement or just an added vehicle?
If it's funded, and Mary, step in if I'm wrong, if it's funded, I believe this car would go to the lieutenant's position.
Right, yeah, he did say that, but also mentioned the detective would also.
And the
maybe have-
detective's car too, because the detective's
Right.
car, that's the one that the gas tank fell off when they were at the DPW.
That's all correct.
So would the chief make an argument that that would improve operations?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
I think
without-
that's his desire, Jim. Yeah, that the lieutenant should have access to a special unmarked vehicle to assist the chief with the various and sundry duties that he's going to assume once that position is actually filled. Mark's probably got a report on that. I don't have it with me now, but he's usually pretty articulate in support of some of these things that he asks for. So I'll fish around and see if I can find something for you.
All right. Next up, pickup truck for 57,618. That includes upfitting and lettering.
I think that one may be improved operation.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
And I suppose you can always lump in it the public safety, but I'm not sure that capital infrastructure maintenance would necessarily be appropriate.
yeah, because it's new. It's not really replacing, and maintaining what we have. So everybody good with public safety and improved operation for the pickup truck?
Mhm.
The contingency, we can skip.
Yeah, you can put an X at public safety, but yeah, other than that, it's not really necessary.
Yeah, because we'll just blend it in however we look to approve things.
Yeah.
All right, next up, IT is, first up is the one-to-one device replacements for $125,000.
So would that be capital infrastructure maintenance?
I would say so, but
Yeah,
it's
I
also
think
my
so.
project.
Also improved operations, I would guess.
It's, I mean, I
It's
guess,
replacements, right? So
Yeah, they're replacing. So when they, would it be an upgrade?
it's, I mean, from having a new device. I don't know, I don't want to defend my own project too much.
Yeah, I
they-
suppose that's kind of the one of those in the middle, like it would be, the device itself might be better, but we may not be using it in a different capacity than they're already being used.
I'm good with the capital infrastructure maintenance, because you're in a mode of just keeping up with the Joneses at this point, right?
Right, yeah, keeping devices current.
Yeah.
Because with Chromebooks, once they hit an expiration date, they are no longer supported for state testing and things.
And I would argue that's improved operations, that you have to replace them. because they're out of date. But I'll let it go. I'm not gonna die on that hill.
All right, next up is the student information system replacement for $129,150.
Probably improved operation on that one.
It is definitely improved operation.
That's also replacement too, correct?
It is to replace our student information system. So we would be getting rid of Rediker and going with
So is that capital infrastructure maintenance? That this,
You could sell me on that, Rich.
okay,
Yeah,
I'm getting, kind of going on my intuition here.
anything else for the SIS replacement. Moving on to the town and school switch replacement for $261,826, which actually would be less. Last week, we got approval for E-rate funding, which will bring that number down by roughly a third.
Wow.
Is that worth a footnote, or are you
Probably.
comfortable enough to change the
Yeah.
amount?
I can change the amount. I just don't have the numbers, but it's.
Okay, all right.
I'll put a comment though. Fixed numbers for E-rate.
One's probably capital infrastructure and maybe improved operation too.
Structure. Everybody okay with those?
Yep.
Next up is the fuel system management replacement for $40,000.
Probably definitely capital infrastructure.
Yeah, it might be improved operations. If I recall the discussions about how much of a pain in the butt it is to
Yeah.
utilize existing.
I'd also probably say it's public safety because that current system fails, then the gas pump shut down.
Oh, okay.
And it's not going to be any energy efficient, and residents does not really affect them. Next up is building automation upgrades for $105,010. Infrastructure and improved. Everybody good with that?
Mhm.
Is there any energy efficiency behind that, or is it just upgrading devices?
It's a replacement of an existing system. And so it's the controllers and it's also the software on the back end. So I think there would be with better programming, but would probably be a stretch.
Yeah, that was a good question, though. You would think perhaps you'd have more control over how to program it, et cetera.
Yeah, more control, and when the things fail and the heat fails on constant on, and that's usually a bad thing. Next up is actually going to be withdrawn because that can be funded through the casino grant that Karen got. All right, that concludes IT. Moving on to the rec department, Heritage Park design, engineering, permitting, and bid documents for $495,075.
So I guess I'll start with quality of life. I'm not sure about the rest of them, but
Improved operation.
mm,
The park's a park.
Well, it definitely will help.
Well,
It will definitely help recreation. They're going to lose the fields at Lennox and they're running out of space. I had a conversation with Donna yesterday or the day before, and they're already like 400 kids over enrolled for summer sports. So she's either got to find a place to put them or tell them they can't play. So
all right, I could buy that, Mary.
Good point, Mary.
That sounds like it would be improved.
Yeah.
All right. So in the past, we haven't really wasted our time going through the enterprise fund projects because for the most part, we just recommend or don't recommend. But I'll leave it up to the committee if we want to categorize them. We're doing pretty good on time.
Yeah, we could categorize them, Ryan. I think the way I've looked at them in the past and this year is as long as they seem like reasonable things to be done, then I'm okay, recommending them, and I didn't see anything here that looked, out of line for the requests, et cetera. But if we have time, we certainly could categorize. It would be okay with me.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I would kind of agree with that. To me, since none of the categories individually are that egregious, I think it'd be one thing if we had 10 under each one, then maybe we'd have to categorize and prioritize, but it seems like we're probably just going to do them or not do them.
Okay, so we do want to categorize, or we want to just go recommend, not recommend?
I'd be fine with just recommend or not recommend.
I would second Connor's comment.
So,
Right.
So my only question, and I might have just missed it, and I apologize if I'm asking again, is I believe Bruce typically makes an estimate as to what effect these things may have on the rates for the sewer and the water. And I just don't remember, what those impacts might be.
And Ryan, to Jim's point too, with the funding, depending on how he goes do it, the debt will obviously impact the rates, but coming out of reserve may not, and we have to see just what he has for reserve. So I'd like to know, Frank, I can sit with Bruce, but find out a priority and what our priorities are, because then we can figure out funding.
okay, so do we want to just recommend, not recommend, or do we want to wait for the enterprise ones?
I think we can do it. I kind of view what we see as priority, and then whether we recommend them or on a whole, whether we recommend them or not. That makes
Okay.
sense.
So we can start with the DPW sewer, the Violent Ave sewage grinder replacement, otherwise known as the Muffin Monster, for $47,281.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have some prior experience with that with a apartment complex I've been involved with, and I can't believe they call it that, but and I can't believe it's that expensive, but unfortunately it's true.
Oh, yeah.
I would recommend. I'm not so sure. I am all up to date on being able to prioritize between, among them, but
This was to keep it, to have a spare, if I remember, wasn't it?
Fair. Yes.
Just in case the one that breaks down, or the one that we have in production breaks down, or to replace it and use the current one as a spare.
yeah.
Didn't they already take the spare and put it in and now they don't have a spare? And
Something like
if
that,
let's go, you don't want to wait a month or more to get a spare.
No, the consequences could be pretty ugly.
Yeah,
Yes.
it keeps flowing regardless. All right, pump station PLC upgrades. This is split between water and sewer. The sewer portion is $305,676.
I'm
Yeah, I
fine
mean,
to recommend that.
I would be okay with that, yeah.
All right. Next up is truck 9 L8000 replacement for $221,318 with it's a Mack truck. The L8000s were ones that I think it was my first year on Capitol where we gave them $30,000 to refurbish them, and that was a while ago, surprisingly. What's everybody's thoughts on truck 9 replacement?
Was this one of the 10-wheelers that they had asked for, or is I haven't had a chance to look at which type of Mac it is. what the size and all is.
Yeah, is this the one that sucks the stuff out of the sewer drains, et cetera?
No,
Was-
No,
That's a Mac jet.
that's the Vector truck.
All right, all right,
They bought that.
Yeah,
We got it this year.
all right.
I think it still makes sense to go forward with it. I mean, especially with all the vehicle delays, they may not even see it for a while by the time they really, really need it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
all right. Me as well. Any other discussion for truck 9? I know Ralph's got something.
Well, no, I'm just, like I said, without doing research on it and figuring out what vehicle it was, because they sent us like 23 pages on this vehicle, and
Yeah.
truthfully, I didn't get through 23 pages, and like I said, I don't mind putting an R on it right now, recommending. And like I said, if I see an issue, then I'll come back to it.
Okay. Water Enterprise Fund, truck 11 replacement with F-350 for 69,589.
Yeah, I would put an R there for myself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I agree.
I would definitely recommend. I just don't know if we're gonna be able to buy one for 69,000 anymore.
Yeah,
I think you're probably gonna be looking closer to 79. But
and when you'll actually get it.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
All right. Next project is the water meter module replacement for $120,000.
Yeah, it sounds like an ongoing project that we have to continue, so I would recommend.
Yeah. And I'm gonna put a recommended for the pump station PLCs because we already recommended the other portion of it.
Right.
All right, so that puts us down into the ambulance enterprise fund. First
So
up is,
Ryan, before we go there, like in the truck, the F-350 replacement, I mean, we can recommend more than the 69, and then if it doesn't cost that, it stays in the enterprise fund, correct? Instead of coming back later, I'm just
as long as it's
concerned.
not, yeah, if it's just cash, if it's not bonded, then it would have to go to a similar project. If they close out, but if we recommend and approve, say $80,000, that would give them $80,000 to spend for that specific project.
Right.
So if the vehicle comes in at 70, they can put another 20 or 10 into wherever they would like to.
Mm.
The biggest, Counselor, the biggest thing is with the bonding, as Ryan says, if we bond for 100,000 and only spend 70, 30 has to be either used to like project or then go back in front of the council to undo it so that we can have it come back at that point. But it would stay within the enterprise fund. It would go back to their undesignated.
Right.
Well, they have accounts for vehicle replacements.
Yep.
And I'm just not sure how much money's in them and if this would come out of that or not, but it just a thought process. And I just hate to come back and say, hey, they ran 5,000 short or 10,000.
No, I appreciate what you're saying, Ralph, and I'm wondering whether instead of us just plugging another 10,000 in, a quick circle back to
Yeah.
Bruce and giving him an opportunity to bump it up to what he might consider, or
We should have, and Counselor, we should have enough in the water vehicle reserve. We don't have it in the sewer anymore, but in the water we should. And I'll get an exact number at that for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Problem with some of that is that those numbers are going to be speculative no matter what,
Absolutely.
because of the,
Absolutely.
you know.
Can't tell the future, come on.
so he could always use the contingency methodology that the police chief used.
And it might have already had one in there. I don't have
All right,
funds in
good.
front of me. So moving down to the ambulance enterprise fund, rescue 3, lease payment 2 of 3 for $136,312. Obviously,
It's nice to pretend that we have a choice, but I guess I would vote recommend.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And for engine 2 replacement, lease 1 of 5. I think that would be tied with the other line.
If we agreed to the 75, I guess we should agree to the 25.
Great.
So I think we'll leave that blank depending on where we categorize the fire truck, and then it kind of would just partner, stick along with that, tag along with that.
Okay, I'm not sure, you confused me there, Ryan. What did you mean?
So for the fire truck, we haven't recommended or not recommended it yet. So
Yeah.
depending on where we categorize the engine 2 replacement,
Oh, okay, you're
25%.
holding it in case it's not recommended, okay.
Right.
All right, gotcha.
right. All right, so we got about, it's
We may
11
actually-
My only other question was the, nothing, it just kind of strikes me funny that there's nothing at all needed for the stormwater enterprise fund, which, I mean, I'm not asking for projects, but that is our newest enterprise fund, if I recall. It's just interesting that we don't need to do anything on that.
Yeah, I confirmed it with Bruce yesterday, and he said, nope, nothing coming from stormwater, so.
All right, okay.
So Jim, some of that may be because last year we did the sweeper for the
Yeah.
stormwater fund and
That's true.
like I said, being a new entity, basically, they only have what, one truck in it or?
Yeah.
I mean, everything's limited what they're doing.
Yeah, good point, Ralph. Thanks. Yeah.
All right, so we got about 15 minutes till noon. I think we probably can, if everybody wants to, we can start the grouping, which is the A, B, C, D. It probably will be about a half hour if I were to guess. At least if you, everybody's comfortable with that, we can go to 12:15. But Connor, did you have a hard stop?
Yeah, I have to stop by noon today, but
Or we
Should we
could
wait
wait,
till the next meeting then, Ryan?
I'm thinking
we
we
can-
could wait till next meeting, because actually the grouping, I think, is gonna be probably take us a little longer than the categorization. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
I would be good with that.
Oh, what's the next meeting date? Because we're running up against some time troubles here, Steve and I.
Let's see, when would you like our final report by?
Oh. Well,
I'd like your recommendations by, what's today, 17? Maybe by the 24th or 31st. I hate to
The
be jumping.
31st?
Yeah, I think that's 2 weeks and if we can get it done before that, it would be very helpful, but may not.
yeah,
Feasible.
to your point, yeah, ideally it'd be a week, but if not, the 31st will still work. And we'll get it in.
Okay, so can we block out 2 hours on Tuesday?
I work on Tuesdays till 4 o'clock.
Wednesday or Thursday?
I'm good Wednesday or Thursday next week.
Let me see.
I'm okay Wednesday I have something at lunchtime. Other than that, I'm okay on Wednesday.
I'm not-
Either early or later. I'm okay. Yep.
I'm later on Wednesday and anytime Thursday, technically.
I'm okay Thursday in the morning up until 1:30.
Yeah.
And then, in the afternoon, probably 3 o'clock on or something.
What if we did Thursday, like 10 to 12?
That would be okay with me.
It's okay
Can we
with
make
me.
it 10:30, Ryan? I just have a meeting till 10 and rather than be late.
So we do Thursday, 10:30 to 12:30?
well, I was just gonna ask, I forget, did anybody have conflicts Wednesday afternoon? by
I'm
chance?
open on Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, Wednesday would work better for me because I have a project conversion Thursday morning that,
So what if we did Wednesday, 1 to 3?
I need to start a little later. I have something at lunchtime.
Okay, like if we did 1:30, is that enough? You wanna go 2 to 4?
If we could do 2, it would be better for me, but
I'm good with 2.
I'm good with 2.
yeah, I can do 2.
okay.
So we'll shoot for the 23rd, 2 to 4.
Yeah.
Do we want to move to in person or would we like to go with Zoom?
I'm going to stay Zooming for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
The Zooming is just so efficient.
It
Hey,
is.
if you want to do in person, Ryan, do a hybrid of it. Yeah,
I'm
if you use
comfortable sticking with Zoom.
I'm
I'm
okay
fine
with
with them too, by the way, but
Yeah, me too. It would be easier for me during the
Yeah.
workday.
Yeah, we'll stick with Zoom. I think when you go hybrid, it gets kind of, I think it's actually worse than doing them either way.
it's often a solution.
Just from the experience of 75 classrooms.
So Ryan, can you send us the update with all the X's and all on it on this graph?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try and print it out and go through and categorize on my own. So when we hit the meeting, I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. Excel.
So for the rookie here, how do you categorize A, B, C, and D? How do you,
Typically what we've done is A is pretty much have to do.
Okay,
A B is we really want to do. A C is we would like to do. And a D is we'll see in FY '24.
okay.
Or 25 or 26.
Right,
Whatever.
exactly.
For all of them.
All right, I will send out the updated document to everybody. Is there any old business or new business? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Moved by Rich, seconded by Jim. Any discussion?
Just one thing before we adjourn, Ryan.
Sure.
So once you sent out the updated one, maybe it makes sense so that we try to be efficient at our next one to get it wrapped up for Mary, if we kind of individually think about what groups we might put some of it in, so then we're not trying to figure it out on the fly next week.
Yeah, yep. This way everybody will have their homework done.
could you just summarize that in an email though, when you send
Yeah.
out the updated?
Yeah,
And
All right,
we're doing this regardless of amount. The town council is not giving us an amount to work with, correct?
I
right.
have not had a conversation yet with Mike about what he thinks is an appropriate cap. But my idea this year is I want to present the budget that we think is appropriate and then let the council whittle away if they disagree. So I think we need to just advocate for the projects that we believe are necessary and important for the number of reasons that we'll discuss. And then, as I said, we'll just submit it as is. I don't want to be crazy and submit a budget of 5% of the overall budget, but in years past, we've limited to like 1.5% or 2% maybe. And this year we have another $2.5 million of ARPA money coming in the door that we can use for anything we want. So there's a lot of other things, and there's grants out there and a variety of other funding sources that I think give us a little bit of flexibility that we may not have had in the past. But as I said, I haven't talked to Mike in a week or so, so I can't.
And I
Go
would
ahead.
agree with Mary's comments. I mean, and also there's still also the town council's financial oversight committee that'll be reviewing things. So I think, the capital planning group, we recommend the things that we think, deserve to be funded. Whether or not they all can be funded gets kind of hashed out with the budget recommendations and through the town council. But I think we should be sending in the ones that we think really should be done. And then
With you
All right.
there.
Any other discussion on adjourning? Hearing none, by roll call vote, Rich Fitzgerald is yes, Ryan is yes, Jim
yes.
is yes, Ralph
Yes.
is yes, Steve
Yes.
is yes, Connor.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, everybody. We are adjourned at 11:53.
Good
Thank you,
job,
guys.
Brian.
Thank you.
You can run any meeting I'm in.
Thanks.